Good evening, this is Brass Taxam Zakir Jacob. The wives of 3 Pulwama martyrs have been on an indefinite protest for more than 10 days now. They have very simple demands. A road be renamed after their dear one. Some want a statue to come up in his name. Some want a sarkari naukri for the next of kin. All of these were promises made to them 4 years ago by the Rajasthan government. None of them have been met. And most importantly, the Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has not even met them once. He says that this entire thing is being politicized at the behest of his opponents. I want to get into the details, the nitty-gritties of this story, but first, what exactly has been happening in Jaipur for the last 10 days?
An 11-day-long protest by 3 widows of CRPF jawans martyred in the 2019 Pulwama terror attack has turned into the latest political flashpoint in Rajasthan. Early in the morning, the 3 widows and their supporters were removed from their protest site outside Congress leader Sachin Pilot's home in Jaipur and shifted to hospitals.
3:30 बजे पुलिस आई और हमारे को हम तो सो रहे थे अब उठा के ले गई हमारे को पता नहीं घर पे आके छोड़ दिए.
BJP leader Kirori Lal Meena, who was part of the protest, was detained when he and his supporters clashed with police.
किरोड़ी लाल मीणा के साथ में जिस तरीके से ये आरोप लगा रहे हैं कि उनको पुलिस ने नंगा करने की कोशिश की, सवाई मानसिंह अस्पताल की मॉर्चरी के अंदर ये देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर इस वक्त किरोड़ी लाल मीणा भर्ती है. यहाँ से ये खाली करा दिया गया है. अब पूरा इलाका किरोड़ी लाल मीणा के जो समर्थक हैं वो अस्पताल से बाहर है.
Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot accused Meena of using the widows for political gains. He in turn accused the police of trying to kill him.
वीरांगना को घर जाना चाहता था बालाजी से प्रार्थना करके ये कि क्रूर मुख्यमंत्री को समझाओ बालाजी महाराज. बैरिकेड लगा दी, भारी पुलिस बल है, धक्का मुक्की हुई, आपके सामने हुई.
The widows have been protesting since the 28th of February. Some are demanding jobs for relatives, others want statues of the martyrs installed. But Gehlot has questioned whether it's appropriate to snatch away the jobs of children of the martyrs and give them to relatives instead.
आखिर ऐसा क्या मांग रही हैं वीरांगनाएं और ऐसी क्या बात है कि राजस्थान सरकार के मुख्यमंत्री उनसे मिलने से मना कर रहे हैं? ये कांग्रेस पार्टी झूठी पार्टी है और झूठे वादे करती है.
The widows have already been subjected to manhandling by the police, an issue which turned into a fresh tug of war between Gehlot and his former deputy Pilot. Pilot had met the protesting widows and demanded that the Rajasthan government fulfill their demands. But the question is, who is politicizing the martyrs?
So how did this row escalate in the first place? It all started on the 28th of February when the 3 widows sat on a Dharna outside Chief Minister Gehlot's house. They were protesting over alleged non-fulfillment of promises by the state government. The widows also accused the Rajasthan police of assault and mistreatment. Then on the 4th of March, the widows launched an indefinite hunger strike. 2 days later, Sachin Pilot met with them when they sat on a Dharna outside his house. He urged the Gehlot government to accept their demands. The following day, Rajasthan Minister Pratap Singh Kacharewas, considered close to Chief Minister Gehlot, met the widows and assured them justice. On the 8th of March, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called up Gehlot and inquired about the alleged assault on the widows. Yesterday, Gehlot called the demands of the widows unjustified, and then today, some of them were detained from the protest site. So 3 demands essentially have been put forth by the protesting widows. One of them is installing the statues of the martyrs in their villages. The second is the naming of schools and roads after some of these Pulwama martyrs. And the third is to give jobs to relatives on compassionate grounds. But the Rajasthan Chief Minister, Mr. Gehlot, who is yet to meet with these widows, has turned down their demands, calling them unjustified. Condemning the Dharna, Gehlot said that some BJP leaders are disrespecting the martyrs by using the name of the widows to earn political mileage. He pointed out that 2 statues of martyr Hemraj Meena have already been erected, and the demand for a third one is not appropriate considering the demands made by the families of other martyrs. He also said that if a job is given to the brother of a martyr, then relatives of all martyrs may make similar demands. Gehlot asked how can denying the rights of martyrs' minor children be justified by giving jobs to other relatives. And this has divided not just the opposition and the ruling Congress there, but it's also split the Congress itself wide open. Sachin Pilot has once again attacked the Gehlot government, saying that widows should not be treated in this manner, and their claims can be easily fulfilled. This is what Sachin Pilot said. Let's listen into what he said, and then I'll go across to our guests.
किसी को आपत्ति नहीं होनी चाहिए, लेकिन आज मैं मानता हूं कि अगर कोई छोटी मोटी मांगे हैं, किसी की सड़क का है, चार दीवारी का है, मूर्ति का है, उस काम को हम पूरा कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि देश में ऐसा मैसेज नहीं जाना चाहिए कि वीरांगनाओं की बात हम सुनने को भी तैयार नहीं है। बात सुनना, मानना न मानना तो बात की बात है, लेकिन बात को सुनने में किसी को अपनी कोई ईगो सामने नहीं लानी चाहिए, किसी को भी, कोई भी व्यक्ति हो। मेरे घर आई, अचानक आ गई, मैंने कहा बैठिए, उनकी बात सुनी, थोड़ा वो जैसे मैं कहा भावुक थी, उनकी बात को मैंने सुना। देखिए, महिला हैं, भावुक हैं, उनकी मानसिक स्थिति क्या होगी, क्या उन पर बीती होगी, तो बड़ी संवेदनशीलता से उनकी बातों को हमने सुनना जाना चाहिए था, और जो पॉसिबल है बताना चाहिए था। अगर नहीं भी करना है तो उनको बैठकर समझाने का काम अगर किया गया होता, मैं समझता हूँ एक बेहतर तरीके से मामले को निपटाया जा सकता था।
All right, let me go across to our guests who are joining us on this special edition of Brass Tacks. GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and BJP spokesperson. Dolly Sharma, Congress Party spokesperson. Lieutenant General retired Sanjay Kulkarni is former DG Infantry, and Arun Anand, consulting editor with First Post. Dolly Sharma, let me start with you first. Some of these demands are very, very simple. Somebody wants a road renamed. Somebody wants a statue built. These were promises made by the government 4 years ago when Pulwama happened. It's bad enough that those demands have not been met. But most importantly, why can't the Chief Minister, sit down with these martyrs' wives and have a chat with them, have a chai with them?
First of all, we respect our martyrs. हम अपने देश के शहीदों की बहुत इज्जत करते हैं, उनका मान सम्मान करते हैं, और रही बात उनकी, वो देखिए, सचिन पायलट कांग्रेस के नेता हैं, वो उनसे मिली हैं, हमारे एक मिनिस्टर हैं, उनसे मिली, अभी आपने ही न्यूज में दिखाया है। और रही बात जो उनकी डिमांड की है, मैं उसमें पढ़कर बताती हूँ अशोक गहलोत जी ने क्या लिखा है। वो क्लियरली जरूरी है, पता भी होना चाहिए, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारे भाजपा के नेता इसमें जिस तरीके से राजनीति कर रहे हैं, वो राजनीति करना ठीक नहीं है। जहां अभी शहीदों के बच्चों का हक मारकर किसी अन्य रिश्तेदार को नौकरी देना कैसे उचित ठहराया जा सकता है, ये अशोक गहलोत जी ने लिखा है। जब शहीद के बच्चे बालिग होंगे तो उन बच्चों का क्या होगा, उनका हक मारना क्या उचित है?
लेकिन डॉली जी, ये बताइए, ये बच्चे जब बड़े हो जाएंगे, उसमें 10 साल लग सकते हैं, 15 साल लग सकते हैं, उस दौरान में इन परिवारों को ख्याल कौन रखेगा? मतलब उनके लिए पैसा कौन कमाएगा? किसी को तो करना पड़ेगा।
जी, मैं बता रही हूँ इसके आगे। इन्होंने क्लियरली अशोक गहलोत जी ने लिखा है कि हम सभी की जिम्मेदारी है कि हम शहीदों और उनके परिवारों का उच्चतम सम्मान करें। राजस्थान का हर नागरिक शहीदों का सम्मान और अपना कर्तव्य निभाता है। लेकिन मैंने जैसा पहले ही कहा कि इस मैटर को लेकर जिस तरीके से भाजपा राजनीति कर रही है, और जही रोड की और मूर्तियां बनाने की, तो ऑलरेडी उन्होंने मेंशन भी किया है कि जो एक शहीद की पत्नी ये डिमांड कर रही है, ऑलरेडी उनके नाम पर दो मूर्तियां बन चुकी हैं।
आई अंडरस्टैंड ऑल ऑफ दैट, लेकिन ये जो प्रोटेस्ट करने वाली महिलाएं हैं, उनसे मिलने की क्या आपत्ति है मुख्यमंत्री की? अभी तक मतलब 10 दिन हो गए, एक बार भी नहीं मिले।
कोई आपत्ति नहीं है, एंड अशोक गहलोत जी एक बहुत जिम्मेदार मुख्यमंत्री, और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है वो जरूर मिलेंगे। और जैसा कि हमारे सरकार के एक मंत्री मिल चुके हैं ऑलरेडी, सचिन पायलट जी मिल चुके हैं, और मुझे पूरी की पूरी
GVL respond. GVL, the Congress's contention is you are politicizing it. Kirodi Lal Meena, leader of your party, was there. He was trying to instigate these women. Congress is saying this whole thing is being done at the behest of the BJP, and the BJP is politicizing this issue.
The injustice meted out to the widows of the martyrs itself is a very insensitive act, and on top of it, making allegations not just against the BJP, you are also making similar allegations against spouses of these martyrs. How can a party, how can a government be so irresponsible? I think some of these promises were made by you 4 years ago. And if Chief Minister is questioning why children, the minor children should not be given benefits in future, I think this is a decision that can be left to the wives, to the spouses of these martyrs. How can Chief Minister decide what is good for them? As you rightly pointed out, many of them may have very young children who may take several years or decades to really be in a position to obtain a job. I think this is not just insensitivity, but even dragging them into politics. You see, as public representatives, if anybody is protesting against injustice, it is our duty to join them, duty to support them. You cannot say we are politicizing it.
No, but
I think if Sachin Pilot is supporting them.
What Ashok Gehlot is asking is, if this is going to set a precedent that every time there is a soldier who's martyred from the CRPF or from any other paramilitary or military force, if families are going to come and say, okay, give my brother-in-law a job or give my sister-in-law a job, then what will the children do? I mean, the standard practice, the precedent so far has been that either the wife gets the job or the children do, right?
I know, Jacob, but you should leave. You can leave that decision to the wife of the martyr. Okay, do you think that you can make a better decision on her behalf? Sometimes she may not be in a position to take up a job, may not be qualified to take up a job. Children may be too young, and in many cases, jawans are only 25, 30 years of age. And even if they are married, they are likely to have children who are 2, 3, 4 years of age.
Yeah.
So I think it's insensitivity on the part of the Chief Minister not to have met them, not to have acceded to their demands, and on top of it, indulging in this very insulting act of lifting them early in the morning.
So
as if they are some criminals who are creating a law and order problem. Yeah. I think he should apologize. So first of all, the government and Congress parties should apologize for this act.
Let me ask Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. Every time there is a soldier who dies for the nation, whether they are from the paramilitary or from the military, it is incumbent upon the state to make sure that their families are taken care of, right? This is basic. This is what any civilized society would do. The question that's being asked is, the state government made some promises, whatever those promises were about roads and schools and statues and jobs for the next of kin, so on and so forth. Is it so much to ask of a state to keep those promises 4 years on? Because one would imagine that, a state that values its braves should be able to value their families as well and the sacrifices that the families have made.
Zaka, thank you very much. At the very outset, I'm apolitical. I do not belong to any political party, and I can state and frankly tell you, because while in the army, as much as it is in the central paramilitary forces are concerned, things are very much streamlined. And for your millions and millions of viewers that who will be listening to you at this point of time, there is question of financial hardship to the Veer Naris is impossible. The word I'm using is impossible. The financial hardship is taken care of instantly and immediately by the central government. The state government, what they give, I'll come to it later. The central government gives. Now, what is that financial security that the Veer Nari gets instantly and immediately? The last pay drawn is the liberalized family pension, which continues to the family as if he is in service till he would have attained the age of 60, and thereafter, again, the extension carries on. That the family hardship, financial hardship is not there. Repeat, not there. Besides this, the kind of money allotment that we ensure to the Veer Nari that they are not put to hardship is in lakhs. That is one. Second, the education of the children is taken care of. So there is no requirement of anything required. Now, the other things, now state governments, what we are talking about, Zaka, it varies from state government to state government. Central government is fixed. This is what they will do. They ensure it is done and everybody gets it. There's not one Veer Nari who can come forward and say they have a financial hardship because the last pay drawn is been given to them till posterity virtually. So as far as the state government is concerned, some state governments do give even amount up to 1 crore. And some only 1 lakh. some 25 bighas of zameen, some probably nothing, some an MIG flat or an HIG flat or a flat from the housing society.
Okay.
So these are things. Now, as regards the concerns of the Veer Naris is there, they should have been resolved within 1 hour. There is no question of 10 days they are there on the street. Anybody can attend to and tell them politely that this is what it is, this is what you are getting. You cannot get what the following thing. Otherwise, there will be no end to anything. We must not politicize it. And I think this is where Zaka, we have failed to probably communicate. And that is where it has led to the Veer Naris being harassed, being pushed, pulled. I think that is something which is unbecoming.
So that's absolutely unacceptable that the police had to resort to that kind of high-handed behavior against them. Like I said, somebody from the government should have reached out to them, called them into the Chief Minister's residence, had a cup of chai and sorted out these issues. But Arun Anand, it's not just, a Congress versus BJP issue. The politicization is not happening just between two opposing political parties, but it's happening within the Congress party as well. Sachin Pilot has met with these women twice now in the last 2 or 3 days. And he's saying something which is commonsensical, which is obvious, that the Chief Minister needs to meet them and, listen to them and whatever is possible to try and accept some of their demands. Is this now getting to be a divisive issue within the Congress party as well, as has been articulated by Sachin Pilot?
Zaga, you have rightly pointed out. I think it's largely, the internal politics. Unfortunately, in this issue also, the internal politics of the Congress party is also playing out. And actually, that is the thing which is driving probably, Ashok Gehlot's actions. And that's why because Sachin Pilot has met these widows of the Martyrs, but Ashok Gehlot refuses to meet them. Also, there is an interesting tweet by Harish Rawat, another Congress leader from Uttarakhand, and because Uttarakhand, sends a lot of people to forces. So he has also said that Ashok Gehlot, should have handled it, more carefully. That is the essence of the tweet which he has said. He has also asked, of course, Centre also to intervene, but as Mr. Kulkarni has pointed out, the Centre has already done its job. Now, I think it's also, largely it's the police action which happened there. See, the police doesn't take an action until and unless they have a directive from the political masters. They wouldn't have acted on their own. That is the most likely scenario. If they have acted on their own, then of course strict action should be taken. But it seems generally the directive comes, as we all know, that the directives come from the top political masters कि इनको किसी भी तरीके से हटाओ, जोर लगाना पड़े, जबरदस्ती करनी पड़े. That kind of message, I'm assuming that must have come. That's how the police action takes place. So that's very that's unacceptable. And another thing is that there is a complete communication breakdown. See, as a head of the state, the Chief Minister has to assuage the feelings. Justice not only has to be done, it seems to be done also.
Correct.
So even if there is a lacuna in that, you can always, there are sensitive issues and you can be a little bit more flexible in these kind of issues. You cannot be very straitjacketed.
So let me come back to our guest in 1 second. I have the daughter of one of the Pulwama martyrs, Martyr Hemraj Meena. His daughter Reena is now joining us. Reena, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. ये बताइए, आप और आपके माँ पिछले 10-11 दिन से आप सड़क पे बैठे हैं मुख्यमंत्री जी के आवास के बाहर. क्या है आपके मेन मांग और अभी तक क्या कुछ आश्वासन दिए गए हैं सरकार की तरफ से कि आपकी मांगे पूरे किए जाएंगे?
सर देखो, हमारी ऐसी कोई शिकायत नहीं है जो सरकार पूरी नहीं कर सकती. हमारे पैकेज के जो हमें पैकेज दिया गया था उसके अनुसार ही हमारी जो शर्तें हैं. पहले मांग हमारी थी जो अदालत चुराई की थी, वो सरकार जो नेता हमारे आश्वासन देके गए थे, वादे करके गए थे, वही है. वो रही बात स्कूल की, तो स्कूल का नामकरण भी कोई ज्यादा बड़ी बात नहीं है इनके लिए. और 1 किलोमीटर का रोड है जो हमारे कच्चा है घर के लिए वहां गाँव से, तो वो भी कोई ज्यादा बड़ा रोड नहीं है जाके जो सरकार नहीं कर सकती है.
लेकिन मुख्यमंत्री और उनके बाकी मंत्री जो हैं उनका कहना ये है कि आपका एक मांग जो है मूर्ति लगाना, उनका मानना ये है कि ऑलरेडी आपके पिताजी के नाम से 2 मूर्तियां लग चुके हैं, तीसरा और लगाने में मतलब दिक्कत होगी. क्या ये सच है कि 2 मूर्तियां ऑलरेडी लग चुकी हैं?
जी सर, 2 मूर्ति लग चुकी है, लेकिन ये गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से नहीं लगती है. ये एक तो ओमजी बिरला जी जो सांसद है, उन्होंने खुद के पर्सनल से शहीद स्मारक पे लगाई है. और जो एक उन्होंने हमारे विधायक साहब ने लगाई है वो गोरदा कॉलेज में लगाई है, वो उसकी हमारी कोई मांग नहीं थी। उन्होंने जबरन वहां लगाई है, उनकी इच्छा से लगाई है। वो हमारी शुरू से ही मांग अदालत चौराहे पर थी और अभी आखिरी तक वही रही गई।
आपको क्या लगता है कि आपके जो इंसाफ की ये जो लड़ाई है इसके बीच में कहीं राजनीति मतलब मिक्स हो गई है और इसकी वजह से आपकी मांगे जो हैं वो पूरे नहीं किए जाएंगे?
जी सर, पता नहीं इस मैटर में राजनीति कर रहे हैं कि कौन ये आगे कोई पत्र लिख रहा है, कौन क्या कर रहा है, हमें कुछ नहीं पता। हमें तो बस जो लोग नेता लोग आए थे हमारे उस टाइम आश्वासन देके गए थे आपकी सारी मांगे पूरी होगी, बस ये आश्वासन से काम। अभी भी आश्वासन ही दे रहे हैं, हमारे कोई काम पूरा नहीं हुआ है अभी तक।
तो 4 साल हो गए, अभी भी आश्वासन ही है, बाकी काम कुछ हुआ नहीं अभी तक। एनीवे रीना, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस। डॉली शर्मा जी, आपने सुना रीना को, बड़ी सिंपल सी मांगे हैं उनकी कि एक तो मूर्ति लगे उनके स्कूल में जहां वो पढ़े थे, हेमराज मीना। दूसरी, उनके गांव, उनके घर के बाहर जो सड़क है वो पक्का सड़क बन जाए। और दैट्स इट, दीज आर द ओनली 2 डिमांड्स दैट दे हैव। तो इसको पूरे करने में क्या एतराज है आपको?
देखिए, कोई एतराज नहीं है। अभी उन्होंने खुद कहा कि हाँ, ऑलरेडी एक और मूर्ति लगी है, 1-2 मूर्तियां ऑलरेडी लगी है। लेकिन जब एक सरकार जब एक डिसीजन लेती है तो सभी को सोच कर लेती है, सभी के बारे में सोच कर लेती है। इस तरीके की जो डिमांड है, मुझे लगता है अशोक गहलोत जी एक जिम्मेदार मुख्यमंत्री हैं और जरूर कुछ ना कुछ पुख्ता कदम वो उठाएंगे।
लेकिन डोली जी ये बताइए, आपने रीना को सुना? रीना तो कह रही है कि मतलब दो मूर्तियां जो ऑलरेडी आ चुकी हैं वो तो सरकार ने नहीं लगाई हैं, वो तो प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल निजी लोगों ने लगाई है, उनके मर्जी लगाए हैं।
और उन्होंने कहा एक सांसद ने लगाई है और दूसरी जो लगाई है वो उनकी मर्जी से नहीं लगाई है, ये उन्होंने कहा।
नहीं, तो सांसद ने तो सरकारी पैसे से थोड़ी ना लगाई है, सांसद ने अपने खुद के पैसे से लगाया है।
मैं आपसे यही बात कहना चाहती हूँ कि अशोक गहलोत जी जिम्मेदार मुख्यमंत्री हैं, वो जरूर इसका कुछ ना कुछ हल निकालेंगे और वो मिलेंगे भी परिवार से। आप निश्चिंत रहिए। क्योंकि
और रोड को कंक्रीट करने में क्या क्या आपत्ति है?
कांग्रेस पार्टी का ऐसा नहीं है जाका जी कि लोग मिले नहीं है जाके उनसे, या लोग मिल रहे हैं, बात भी करे। एक मंत्री भी आप ही ने बताया अपने न्यूज पे मिले हैं, सचिन पायलट जी भी 2 बार मिल चुके हैं और जल्द मुख्यमंत्री जी भी मिलेंगे और जरूर इसका हल निकाला जाएगा।
ओके, जीवीएल नरसिम्हा राव, यू आर मिक्सिंग पॉलिटिक्स। यू हर्ड रीना ऑल्सो सेइंग पता नहीं क्यों राजनीति इसमें मिलाया जा रहा है। हमारी एक ही शिकायत है कि हमारी मांगे पूरे हो जाएं। So are you actually impeding the cause of the martyrs' wives by mixing politics into it?
No, actually,
I'm asking. Sorry,
no, I think it's yeah. See, it is duty of any political party to join cause with somebody who's seriously aggrieved. In this case, it is Veer Naris who have lost their husbands, whose husbands have actually sacrificed their lives for the cause of nation, and we are not making any new demands on the government. These ladies are only seeking government to fulfill demands which it has itself made, and to stand by them is not politics. I think it's our duty. And if anybody does not stand up with them, I think they are actually indulging in an act of anti-nationality. I think it is our duty. We are proud of it. If Sachin Pilot has joined, maybe I think it's possibly a Pilot versus Gehlot ego battle, but they should not really use issues like this to be brought into their ego battles.
But GVL, the reason why there was police high-handed behavior and this flare-up between the police and the protesters was because they are saying Kirodilal Meena, who is a BJP MP, him and his supporters came there and created a scene, and that's how things went out of hand.
No, there is nothing to go out of hand. Like you rightly said, what was the ego? They had actually gone and met, I think, Honorable Governor, who actually advised them to meet the Chief Minister because he is the executive head. Chief Minister could he not find 10 minutes, 5 minutes time to give them assurances? Building a 1 kilometer road, is it a big thing for a Chief Minister? Even for a Gram Panchayat they can do it. They could have built it under Narega. They could have built it under any scheme. It's only an ego battle. I think Chief Gehlot doesn't seem to have his priorities right. Because you have gone and met somebody in his party, I think he has decided to take cudgels with them. I think it's a very negative way, and certainly this is not the way where you should be settling political scores. We need to respect our braves and their families, and Gehlot, the least he can do today is to apologize to the three women and accede to their demands. I think at least he'll be able to save himself from further embarrassment.
So let me ask General Kulkarni. I mean, you heard the daughter of one of the martyrs. Their demands are very, very small in nature, and one would even say maybe even private in nature, in the sense that other than the road which the government has to put, the putting of a statue, the renaming of the local school, does it really require A, government intervention, and B, more importantly, again, like you keep saying, it doesn't come back to taking care of their financial stability, because that seems to be a box that's been checked. They are saying just give jobs to the brother-in-law or the sister-in-law.
Zaka, as regards the jobs for brother-in-law and sister-in-law concerned, I think it's the respective state government's responsibility. If they can, they should. But otherwise, legally speaking, just the family of the martyr. That is what it is. And that is what the law says about. Others, it's the state government to do what they wish to do. As regards the other demands are concerned, the desire of the martyrs' families, the Veernaris, is to see the names every day, a small lane being, named after the martyr, a school where he studied being named after it, which is something which requires government sanction. Even to put a statue, you require a government sanction. You can't just go put up a statue on a government land, unless until it is your own private land. Then it's a different issue. But if it's a government land, a statue has to be put on a chowraha or something like that. It requires government sanction. It requires municipality sanction. It requires subsequent maintenance. A statue just can't be made. It has to be maintained. It has to be given the due respect. The road has to be maintained. The road has to be given the due. You just can't have something done. Therefore, it does require government intervention. And I think if it's something which is very, very this thing, the whole thing should have been resolved in 1 hour. If somebody is standing outside my house for whatever the time is, all I need to do is find out what is it. Just call, okay, this is what it is. Okay, we'll get back to you. And that's it. I think it would have all been over. Rather than, I think it has brought in a bad name, unfortunately, and avoidable, totally avoidable, because the Veernaris aren't asking for money. They aren't asking for money. They aren't asking for any financial security. All they're asking is for a little name that the martyr can get. The family gets a little respect in the village that they are all in. And that is what it is. And I think it was absolutely negotiable and done.
So Arun Anand, has ego come in the way for two reasons? One, obviously, Gehlot feels like the BJP has gotten involved. Kirolilal Meena was involved. Now I believe the BJP will be taking out a big protest on this tomorrow as well. That's one part of it. So he doesn't want to give any political credit of this to the BJP. And B, more importantly, perhaps, and closer home, that his arch nemesis Sachin Pilot has also been involved. So if he were to act now, post facto, it'll seem like he's doing it under political pressure from these quarters.
I think you're right. It's largely, basically, it has turned out to be, a kind of political slugfest now. But I also want to bring in a fact, there has been actually quite a crisis of governance in the state of Rajasthan, because just a couple of weeks back, we had, this news splashing everywhere that he was reading, the last year budget. He had almost, read a couple of pages of that in the assembly, and that has never happened in the history of, I think, India's, legislative history. So you can imagine the kind of crisis of governance which Rajasthan is facing. And I think it's also the arrogance. See, it happens with most of the political parties that, when they rule for 3-4 years, so by the end, they become quite arrogant. So it's a combination of arrogance, political slugfest, lack of governance, and absolute lack of sensitivity.
Okay, I'll give the final word to both Dolly Sharma and then subsequently to GVL Narasimha Rao. तो डॉली जी, जो अरुण का भी कहना ये है कि इट्स नॉट जस्ट दिस वन इंसिडेंट, सिर्फ ये एक घटना की बात नहीं है. हमने सब देखा कि कैसे मुख्यमंत्री बजट के पहले पुराने बजट पढ़ रहे थे, दिन किसी और ने आके उनको बोला कि देखिए ये पिछले साल की बजट है. हम सब ने देखा उदयपुर में क्या हुआ, उसका क्या फॉल आउट हुआ, उसका क्या परिणाम हुआ. एंड देन अगेन जोधपुर में जो दंगे हुए, जो मुख्यमंत्री के खुद के कंस्टिट्यूएंसी हैं, जो दंगे हुए पिछले साल, ऐसा लगता है कि पूरे राजस्थान में एक तरीके का लॉ एंड ऑर्डर का बड़ा सवाल खड़ा हो रहा है.
Okay, I want to put one thing in front of you, Zakaji, that there are many incidences where we found BJP Karyakartas doing so. You must have seen those pictures getting viral also. So I don't want to go into all that. Today the discussion is on the martyrs. So I want to keep it here only. राजस्थान के मुख्यमंत्री अशोक गहलोत जी बहुत जिम्मेदार मुख्यमंत्री हैं, जहां देश में महंगाई चरम पर है, वहां 500 रुपए का गैस सिलेंडर राजस्थान की महिलाओं को, परिवारों को राहत देने के लिए कर रहे हैं। बहुत सारे ऐसे जीवन बीमा और परिवार को आर्थिक सहायता देने के लिए और स्वास्थ्य के लिए सहायता देने के लिए उन्हें 25 लाख तक का बीमा किया है। तो बहुत सारी राजस्थान सरकार ऐसी योजनाएं चला रही है जो आम लोगों के लिए है, गरीब लोगों के लिए है। और
तो अगर इतना सारा काम कर रहे हैं तो एक सड़क भी लगा दें, एक मूर्ति भी लगा दें।
I want to, this is what I'm saying now, that he's a responsible chief minister, and I'm sure, I'm telling you this on national television, 100% he'll come out with some solution, because as per law, somebody sitting in the panel said right here that as per the law, the job belongs to the immediate family, whether the wife or children of the martyr. So 100% he'll come out with some solution, guaranteed. He'll meet the family soon. Also, Congress people meeting them. So I hope they will not politicize this. Let's sit together, because ultimately it's a matter of a martyr family, and we all respect them. Because of them, we are sitting here peacefully in our home. So again, I would like to say this कि अशोक गहलोत जी रिस्पॉन्सिबल मुख्यमंत्री हैं और जरूर इसका सोल्यूशन निकालेंगे। और हमारी पूरी कांग्रेस की इच्छा है, पूरा कांग्रेस पार्टी चाहती है देश में हमारे सैनिकों का, उनके परिवारों का सम्मान रहे।
Does this episode once again highlight, the need for an institutional response? I mean, the wives or the families of martyrs shouldn't have to come to the streets and ask for some of these basic requirements. There should be an institutional mechanism whereby if they have demands, they should be able to convey that to the government. And the government itself should, as one of the leaders today said, take care of them as though they are our own family.
Yes, Jaka. As far as government's obligations are concerned, there is a due process, and that process is honored. In this case, these are specific promises being made by the state government, and it's possible ministers who visited the martyrs' families at that time, they would have made these promises, and these Veer Naris have only wanted those promises to be honored, and these are very simple promises, as you mentioned, and there is no law which mandates that only children of martyrs can be given jobs. I don't think that's a legality issue at all. It's a question of procedure. It's a question of an executive decision. Chief Minister can do it instantly. I don't think it requires even a cabinet decision. It's an executive order. He could have done this, like the veteran on the panel said. This could have been resolved in 1 hour. I think it only shows height of arrogance. And they will pay a heavy price for it, and that's why I said Chief Minister, if he wants to cut his losses, immediately apologize to the three Veer Naris and promise to deliver whatever they have assured in a time-bound manner, in a manner of 3-4 weeks or whatsoever. Otherwise, he will be seen as he'll be seen as the most insensitive chief minister.
We'll have to leave it at that. We'll see how the state government responds to this. Like I said, these are not very, very gargantuan or earth-shattering demands. These are very, very simple demands. A kilometer of Pakka road or a statue in the name of the martyr. I don't think it's something that the government should put it past them. In fact, the government should take it up as its own initiative and reach out to these martyrs' families. The last thing we want is any of our martyrs' families staying on the road for their basic demands. Let's take a quick break here on Brass Tack. Coming up, right on the other side is a big CNN News 18 global exclusive. Who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline between Russia and Germany? American investigative journalist Seymour Hersh, who was the first one to blame the United States and say this was carried out by state actors of the US, is now being contradicted by the New York Times. Hersh has his first response in this global exclusive interview right on the other side of this quick break.